Afternoon, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to the May 3rd Lunchtime Hot Topics. We have a few new things for you today. First of all, Dean is going to give you an update on our federal funds. Not sure this has been right up front in your grill or on your radar, but a little over a year ago, the U.S. Federal government updated ESSA, and since we now have a new administration, new president, new staff, our funding has kind of been on hold, really not knowing what kind of federal dollars, Title I, Title II, that states are going to receive. Well, they finally came out earlier this week and did an update and actually sent out state allocations. The funding is going to carry us to next September. So Dean's going to give you an update on not only as a state, but hopefully locally as a district, what you might expect in your federal dollars going into next school year. Also, Yates is going to give an update on the Authenticated application registration for KEEP 2. We have a majority of our school districts are using the Kansas Education Employee process for KEEP for teacher evaluation, and she's going to give an update on that. And then Kelly Slaton's going to give an update on the new teacher mentoring guide. So just a lot. I want to thank everybody that's been showing up to Randy and I's Q4 trainings. I want to remind you that we have all of our PowerPoints, including the Q4 trainings, posted on the Q4s or on the Commissioner's website. Just go under Commissioner's PowerPoints. And also, if you go to my webpage, you'll not only find a lot of my PowerPoints, a lot of resources, a lot of documents, but you'll also find all of these lunchtime hot topic. We archive them. They're recorded. You can play them back later for staff or just for you. If you sometimes you got to hear things 3-4 times. But anyway, really excited. We've got a lot of new districts signing up for the Kansas Education Evaluation Protocol, the KEEP. So we want to keep that fresh. Some of these things we just need to remind people of what's out there. I want to remind you again, if you have questions, comments, send those to lunchtime@ksde.org. And the great Nick Stewart monitors that and lets me know when questions arise or things that we need to respond. Right, Nick?
Yes, I do.
Yes, he does. So I also want to remind everybody that the Summer Impact Institutes, that's really targeted not only for just teachers, but really these are 2-day events during the summer where you can send staff that don't normally are able to break away during the school year. I know a lot of building administrators also have challenges getting away. But we're going to take a lot of deep dives into the board outcomes, the vision. We'll be talking about socio-emotional, what are some of the tools and resources that we have available, post-secondary, individual plans of study. So these 3 events will be great. They're 2-day events. Registration is only $25 for the 2 days. I will say right now that the one at Pittsburgh, we're going to need more people to get registered for that one. I think we're doing good at the one at Barton and Washburn, but still try to get teams to go, but we need more at the Pittsburgh because right now we're only setting about 30, 35, so we need some more people to attend those. I also want to let you know that calls for proposals for the annual conference next fall, October 11th through 13th. Those calls for proposal have gone out. It's the Kansans Can. Imagine is the theme. We really encourage school districts that are already well down the road, looking at the board's vision and the outcomes, what you're doing in your district that's innovative, unique, that you can send a team to share with other school districts. So again, I tell you, it's been truly refreshing and exciting as Randy and I, go across the state, and just, it's not going to happen tomorrow. But we do know that tomorrow we can start doing some things to put in place that as a state we can lead the world. We believe that Kansans can. We can do this. Again, it's just been exciting being out there with you. We have a few more left, but I truly believe we're going to be pleased with the funding formula that eventually today they're looking at introducing it, but it's going to take a little bit of time. The next few weeks may seem there will be things introduced we don't like, but overall I think we're going to be pleased with it, and we're excited for next year. So hopefully, if you have any questions or anything, always feel free to give me a call or shoot me an email. Thanks, everybody.
Hello, this is Dean Zajic, and I'm here to give you the 2017-18 federal funding update. I'm sure many of you have had questions about where exactly your federal funds are going to land for the 2017-18 school year. And while we don't have firm figures yet, we do have an update that we hope will help support you as you work on your budgets for the upcoming year. So where things stand right now. As you may be aware, President Trump released a skinny budget on March 16th of this year, which really just included a very light overview of what the administration would like to see for federal funding for education in the 17-18 year. But as we now know, Congress published a bipartisan spending agreement earlier this week on May 1st. And this is the agreement that the Congress will be working on and working to pass later this week, the week of May 1st. A vote is expected at some point this week, and assuming that it is passed as written, we would expect that the U.S. Department of Education will have figures to the states within 2 to 3 weeks after that passage with state-specific allocation amounts. So what exactly is in that spending agreement that Congress is working on? You can see the actual amounts in the link that was on the previous slide, but if you look through the amounts for individual programs contained within the proposed spending agreement, we see that Title I overall is up about 3%. Title II is down nationally by about 12.5%, but obviously still there, which as many of you may know, it was on the chopping block in the skinny budget from the administration, but Congress has chosen at this point to leave it in with a slight decrease at 12.5% nationally. Again, district and state level amounts will vary up and down. 21st Century, another one that was on the chopping block, but is still there and is in fact actually up 2.1% nationally. And then we do have a new program that was part of the Every Student Succeeds Act, the Student Support and Academic Enrichment Grants. This is going to be funded for 17-18, but the funding amount is only $400 million nationally, which is very small by national program standards. And to give you some perspective, the 21st Century Community Learning Grants, which are up just a little bit, which are also generally a small grant, that is a $1.2 billion program. So you can see $400 million versus $1.2 billion. The Title IV program is there and funded, but is going to be a small program. And do watch for additional details on that. It is a formula program, but there are some additional stipulations, and we will be releasing additional details on that program. Your IDA Part B, that's your special education program for students 3 through 21 years old. That is up 7.5%. Part C, which is infant toddler, is flat as compared to last year's funding. Impact aid, which does impact does impact a number of our districts, is included and is up 1.7%. And then migrant and neglected and delinquent funds, again included but flat as compared to last year. Again, these are all national level funding levels. The actual appropriations to the states and then vis-a-vis to the districts will vary depending on population and other demographic changes. So everything is preliminary until it's not. This should be used to inform your budget and planning for the 2017-18 school year, but we don't yet know the absolute final numbers, but we should know them here in the coming weeks. And as soon as they are available, we will make those funds and numbers available to the districts. At this point, we expect that the applications for funds for the various awards and the actual awards should go out on schedule. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself, Dean Zajic, or any of our staff. Thank you.
This is Yates. We will be covering authenticated applications registration for the Keep2 web application. First thing I would like to cover is to give a brief explanation of authenticated applications. Here at the top of the screen on the left, you will see our KSDE webpage and our link to authenticated applications. In your thinking, this would be similar to the iTunes or Google Play App Store. So you will create a username and password for this application store. The difference being our applications are free. Now, once you get into an app store, you will have a list of applications, as I'm showing you here on the left. Just like if you were to get into iTunes or Google Play, they would have a list of applications. So you would come in and you would choose an application that you need. If you are a building leader, you would probably choose several applications. If you are a classroom teacher, there is likely only one or two that you may choose. Once you have chosen the applications and you've gotten registered, your account will be attached to your school in the same fashion that when you register for an account and choose your applications, they would be registered to your phone. So I just wanted to give you some perspective in what we're looking at in regards to authenticated applications, whereas Keep2 is one of the applications within the authenticated applications. One thing you need to decide is, when do you need to register for a new authenticated applications account? The first and most obvious choice is if you are new to authenticated applications and you've never created an account before. You may be new to teaching in a new building or in a new district. Also, if you are an administrator and you have moved to a new building or district, you will need to create a new authenticated applications account, because as I explained earlier, your account is attached to the building and the applications that you choose are also attached to that building. If you are a teacher and you have moved to a new district, then this would be a time that you would need to create a new authenticated applications account. Something to remember is you cannot use the same account or username that is assigned to you for your license application account. They are not the same system, and therefore the Keep2 application will not work in the same manner. I repeat, do not use your license application account. It is a separate system. If you already have an authenticated applications account and none of the above situations apply to you, then you can go in and manage your account. And once you are in there, you will choose Keep2 and your role, then fill out your birth date, security question, and then the answer for the security question. You'll submit. You'll need to enter your educator ID and social security number, and then you would click submit. As I showed you earlier, to get to authenticated applications, you will go to the KSDE website, which is www.ksde.org. Then you will come over here to the right, and the link to the authenticated applications is here under popular resources, and it is the fourth link. Once you click the link, it will bring you to this login page. If you do not already have an account, then you will need to come to the green register button and follow the steps to get registered for an authenticated applications account. And we will go through those now. Once you get in, your registration form will ask you for your first name, last name, phone number, and email address. Then you will choose your organization, which for the audience that I'm speaking to would be your school district. Then you will choose the building in which you are assigned in your school district. The building selection is very important. As I indicated earlier, your authenticated applications account is attached to your building. If you are a district administrator, then you will choose all buildings or your USD home. If you are an administrator that has more than one building, that will be up to you whether or not you need to have an account for more than one building. It will not be required for Keep 2, but it may be required for the other applications that you may choose in authenticated applications. Once you have chosen your district and building, then you will come to the blue and white striped app list. And for this particular session, we are talking about Keep 2. So you will check the box by Keep 2. And then based on your building selection, it will give you a choice of roles that you may choose so that you have the proper access. The roles that you can choose from for Keep 2 are as follows. The district administrator would be a superintendent or assistant or associate superintendent or HR director. This will require for the account to be approved, which the system will send you an email just to verify that you are an administrator and that you are allowed to have access to the information, which in not just Keep 2, but many of the applications have confidential information specific to that building. There's also the choice of Keep administrator. This would be someone in the district office that may be assigned the task of administering any needs in the Keep application, and this may be assigned by the superintendent. This can be a board clerk or an administrative assistant, just to help with daily needs, weekly or monthly needs that the superintendent may not have time to take care of. At the district level, there may also be a district educator. If you are a district educator, you are automatically approved, but you will be required to enter an educator ID and social security number. Now, you need to have the educator ID and social security number on hand before you register. You will not have time to look them up. Another role is building administrator, which would be a principal or assistant principal. Once again, this requires account approval due to access to applications that have confidential information associated with that building. A building educator would be a classroom teacher or an itinerant teacher. They are automatically approved, just like a district educator. You're also required to have your educator ID and social security number. And I repeat, please have those ready before you register. You will not have time to look them up before the district times you out and then locks you out. The final choice of roles in Keep 2 is registered user, and that would be any personnel without an educator ID. For instance, a board member, a school psych, or a nurse. Account approval is required in the same way as administrators, but for this situation it's because there is no educator ID, so we just need to verify that you are who you say you are. The bottom, we are reminded that account approval occurs when the system sends an email to the district administrator and they reply with approval for the access level requested. Once you have chosen your application and your role, then you will finish your registration process by choosing a login ID. Once again, please do not use the same username that you would use in license application. Choose a new one. Your password, however, can be the same for every application that you use, but the username must be different. So choose a password that's not too difficult for you to remember. Confirm your password at this time. The system also asks you to enter your birth date. Then you will have a security question and an answer. Once you have completed these fields, you will click Submit. If you are a district educator or a building educator, it will take you to the page that requires you to enter your educator ID and your social security number. Once again, make sure you have this educator ID on hand before you start the registration process, or it is likely you will be timed out and locked out before you finish registering. Once you've entered these two vital numbers, you will click Submit. And as a district or building educator, your process will be completed for registration. For all the roles that I spoke about earlier, whether you need to have automatic approval or need to be pre-approved, once the registration process is complete, the app will show up in your app list. If you're a district administrator or a building administrator, you will likely have several apps in your list that have to do with your district or your building assignment. For a teacher, you're likely only going to have Keep 2. Just a quick warning, if you see Keep 2 and license application, you're in the wrong system, and you will need to start at the beginning with the registration following the steps that I went through earlier. One thing I want to point out, when I talked about someone that already has an Authenticated Applications account, being a building administrator, and they just need to add Keep 2, then this is where you can find Manage My Account, where you will click and it will take you back to the blue and white striped app list. You'll choose Keep 2, your role, and then finish out the registration page to add this to your applications. When you click on Keep 2, it will bring you into the system and you will accept the terms of use for the system. And then you will be in Keep 2. A few reminders. There are two ways that you can be locked out of the system. One I have already repeatedly mentioned, and that is the entry of your educator ID. You must have it on hand. And do not copy and paste the educator ID. Make sure you type it in. And then make sure you do so in a timely manner so the system does not time out on you. There is one other way, and now this is set in place. The 90 days inactive is a security measure to keep your information secure as well as the system secure. This is likely to happen for Keep 2 users as you are gone, you finish an evaluation, and then you are gone for summer break. Do not panic. It is fine. You do not need to re-register. As a matter of fact, please do not re-register. Follow this notice that will show up on your screen that will prompt you to reset your password, and you will click a link. It will send you an email, and you will then reset your password and get right back into your account. So once again, do not worry if it says that it's locked and you see this message. Just reset your password and you're good to go. Do not create a new Authenticated Applications account. On this page here, we have just a quick summary of everything that I've gone over of registering for Authenticated Applications and then adding Keep 2 as one of your applications within the system. So we go to the KSDE website, you click the link on the right side of the screen, you click the green register button. Fill out the registration fields, choose your building, choose Keep To in your role, choose a username and password, enter your birth date and security question and answer, click Submit, and then if it asks if you are an educator, then you will need to enter your educator ID and social security number and click Submit as well. For the Keep administrator or the district administrator, here are some brief instructions on how to get your new registrants attached and connected within the Keep To system. If you have any questions about registering for authenticated applications and acquiring the Keep To application within the system, you can reach me, Ann Yates, at ayates@ksde.org, or you can call me at 785-296-5140, and I will be glad to be of assistance. Thank you.
Good afternoon. This is Kelly Slaton with Teacher Licensure and Accreditation, and we're going to discuss the mentoring guidelines that have been sent out earlier this week, at the end of last week. To find the mentoring information on the KSDE website, simply go to ksde.org and click on the M in the subject index. Once you get to the list, then you can see all of the M items and simply click on Mentoring. This page houses all of the information that is needed for making your revisions to the mentoring plan. First of all, at the very top of the page, you have the new guidelines. I will open these up and do a bit of a summary for you. The first guideline in the new version is one of the new items. It states that mentees are required to complete a needs assessment, and that this needs assessment will drive the content and the matching of the mentor to the mentee. The second guideline is the same as before, and that is that the content of the mentoring program learning for the mentee should be around those 4 areas of the professional standards. The third guideline deals with mentor selection and training, and under selection criteria, one of the new items is that the school district or system needs to have a pool of mentors ready for the following year each spring by the end of the school year. And the fourth item in this list also is new, and that is that the mentors and mentees should be matched by the first day of the contract. And the intention here is that is the first day of the mentee's contract. Under the training section, you may recall that the training content had 9 bullets, and those 9 bullets were required pieces of training for the mentors. The new guidelines contain 7 items and pretty much cover the 9 that were included before. But as long as you have these listed as part of the content that mentors are receiving as training, then your mentoring plan will go through. The fourth guideline has to do with the multi-year support. And previously, 1 year of support was absolutely required with a second year available as needed. Now the requirements are for a 2-year period of time. The mentee will receive the formal mentoring. So your plans that you submit will need to include that 2-year requirement. Again, the annual needs assessment will determine the needs of the mentee so that the content of his or her program meets the needs according to the needs assessment. The support required during those 2 years, a small change is that instead of saying weekly communication between the mentor and mentee, it simply says regular communication. Item B, observation of other classrooms. This means that the mentee needs to observe professional teachers in the middle of their classroom practice to see what good teaching looks like. And item C has not changed. On the fifth guideline, which is about evaluating the effectiveness of the program, the guidelines actually stipulate 3 specific kinds of measurements that need to be included in that evaluation. It is important that we make sure everyone understands that we are trying to evaluate the program here, not the mentees, with this use of measurements. These measurements are the retention data of new teachers, the evaluation of the mentee's progress regarding the needs assessment data, and then also feedback by the building principal. Previously, your plans have included feedback from the mentee and the mentor, and certainly those would still be important. And again, making sure that the criteria that you use to assess the effectiveness of the program involves the characteristics of a program rather than simply whether or not a teacher shows improvement. What is it about the program that is directly making the impact? So those are the actual guidelines, and we'll return to the mentoring page itself, and we'll scroll down here, well, not very far. Right underneath the new guidelines is the addendum that was mentioned in the listserv email that went out. If we click on the addendum, the first page gives explanations similar to what was given in the listserv email. I will scroll to the 2 choices here that you have. One is if you have a teacher mentoring program already approved, then you can use page 2 of this document, and you can simply copy and paste it onto a page in the front of your current plan, and then email that new document, which is your current plan plus the new front page, and email that document to Lynn Bechtel. And if you do so by July 14th, then your plan will be automatically approved. This is, of course, assuming that you're not making any other changes. You're simply adding the addendum. Your other choice, if you have an approved mentoring plan, is to go ahead and do a thorough review of your plan, make whatever changes that you wish to make, highlight those changes, and all revisions that relate to the new guidelines, and then email that updated plan to Lynn Bechtel. Again, the deadline is July 14th. If you do not have an approved plan yet, because you have not submitted one, then it's very important that you do so that any teachers that are on initial licenses can receive the mentoring required for upgrading to a professional license. All mentoring programs that are being turned in or revised for approval at the August 1st deadline need to be turned in on time and approved by then. We will not be making backdated approvals this time. Okay, we'll return. Oh, sorry, I wanted to look at the next page. This is the actual addendum, and as you may notice, there is some language at each item at the end that explains to you what the changes have been. That language is not required to be present in the document that you submit, but it's not going to hurt anything if it does stay there. So you would simply copy and paste the information on this page, or take this PDF and move this page of the PDF into your PDF document. And then again, submit that by July 14th. Also on the mentoring page, the same instructions are present. What employers of licensed teachers need to do. And here is the information. The automatic approval option and the plan revision and review option. The submission instructions are listed right here. You'll submit all of these documents to Lynn Bechtel, and here's her email and phone number. If you're an outside provider, make sure that you submit your revised plan accordingly. And districts, if your plan is self-created, email your updated plan as an attachment. Here is a sample plan for school specialists. It is one that you can use very easily in conjunction with your teacher mentoring plan. And then here is a sample plan for educational leader mentoring. If you haven't turned one of those in yet, you need to be sure that you turn one of those in as well. At the bottom of the page, we have the list of approved providers. You can see that we have 6 providers of teacher mentoring. We have 6 providers, and they're not all the same, of educational leader mentoring. And then we also have partners who are doing various things for us related to mentoring. If you have any questions about the teacher mentoring guidelines or submitting your plan, you're welcome to contact me, Kelly Slaton, and my information is right over here on the side of the web page. Or you can also contact Lynn Bechtel, and her information is lower on the page where I showed you before. Thank you for listening to Hot Topics, and I look forward to seeing you sometime in the future.